I'm going to see if anybody gets on. I'm on early tonight. So we'll see. Hello, hello. We gonna get anybody on tonight? Hello? Hello? Hop on and hop out just as fast. Ooh, ooh. Debbie! How are you? So I'm on early tonight because I have to be on grandma duty later, so I'm doing an early live. I didn't know if anybody's gonna hop on or not. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Always my nose when I get on a live. I am doing well. Glad to see you too. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. I just forgot to write something in my notes for tonight. Debbie from Tennessee, welcome. Hi from Charlotte, North Carolina, welcome. Let me scroll back. I'm going pretty quick these days. Do you have a name from Charlotte, North Carolina? Thanks for liking the live, Debbie. I appreciate that. So my daughter wants to go to trivia tonight. Nikki from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, welcome. Johnny, welcome. And so I said, well, I'll try and do my live early. We'll see who gets on. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota, and I get my topic when I go live, if I could talk, from Spirit, from my guides. And tonight's topic is fear. And as soon as a few more people hop on, then I'll get started. Okay, Debbie. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Billy, hi from Louisiana, welcome. Always my nose when I get on a live. I'm going to let a few more people hop on and then I'll get started. Marie from St. Louis, welcome. Been there. Took my kids there. Gosh, what, like 21 years ago? Seems crazy that it's been that long. Kentucky. Is it Amy? Welcome. Okay, well, a few more people have jumped on, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So if you're new to my page, my channel, whatever it's called, I don't know. Okay, good. Sorry, my name got sidetracked. My name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. I started my TikTok in March only because I procrastinated. But the reason I started my TikTok is because on September 14th, hi from Louisiana also, welcome. So I started my TikTok because on September 14th of 2023, for TikTok purposes, my husband unalived himself. That's when I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my guides, and they led me to what my purpose in life was, which is to help others going through traumas and help others heal. And so that's pretty much why I'm here. They've been telling me for the last year that I needed to be more present on social media. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And so finally I procrastinated from December to, I think it was like the end of January. And I was more present on Facebook and Instagram. And then they kept saying, you need to be on TikTok. You need to be on TikTok. and I am very technologically challenged. So when all my grandkids were here in March, I asked my kids tell me the same thing. Yeah. So my grandkids helped me set up. I said, will you all help Grandma set up her TikTok? So they did. And so that's how my TikTok channel was created and why. And so I'm just here. We talk about healing, and if you're lonely, and if you've lost somebody, that's what we talk about here. I only have 2 rules. One, we don't talk politics because there's a million other pages for that. So I appreciate if we just don't do that. And I ask that we always be kind. I'm not where you are on your journey of life, and you're not where I am. And so we're not going to agree on everything. And so on my page, my channel, we just agree to disagree. And if you can't do that, all I ask is that you hop off and keep scrolling. So anyway, so like I said, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. If you're just joining me, tell me who you are, where you're from. Welcome. Like I said in the beginning, unless you missed it, before I go live, I get my subject from my guides. So tonight's topic or subject is fear. We're going to talk about fear. And so I have a whole page of notes. Penelope from Iowa, welcome. Where at from Iowa? Have you been on here before? I'm from Iowa, that's why I ask. So I live in South Dakota now, but I'm originally from Iowa. So I have a page full of notes. We are not shy here. Pipe in anytime. Ann from Omaha, Nebraska. I lived in Omaha, Nebraska 31 years ago. My husband was from Blair. And so know Omaha well. Not as well as I used to. It's changed a ton in 30 years. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, we're not shy here, so pipe in. I like to ask questions, so if you do add to the discussion, I might ask you a question. If you don't want to, just say, I don't want to answer or whatever. So tonight's topic is fear. How are you letting fear stop you? Is the question that my guides wanted me to ask tonight. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you didn't catch the beginning, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. I'm on a little early tonight because I'm on grandma duty later. And so my daughter's like, Mom, can you do your live a little early? I'm like, well, we're going to find out if anybody gets on. So, and I'm a little bummed. My dog broke my good readers, my favorite ones. So these are a little stronger. So make my eyes a little crazy, but anyway. So are you letting fear stop you? I know most of my life I let fear determine the decisions that I made a lot of the time. Anybody else? Okay, well, we're just gonna I'm just gonna keep going down the line then, and pipe in anytime you feel like it. So what is your fear? Yes, most of the time it plays a factor every day. Okay, so I'm not alone. So what is your fear? How do we get past that fear? I've learned that you have to walk through it, right? So if you missed the very beginning, like I said, I created this TikTok because on September 14th of 2023, yes, after my husband passed, I was always fearful. Not being accepted is my fear. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's on my list here. And that's why I was just going to say, Anne, how long ago did you lose your husband? And how long were you together? If you don't mind me asking. And so that's what I was just going to say. So this has been the hardest year of my life. My husband unalived himself. And so there was a lot of times that I walked through fear. I had never been alone since I was 16 years old. My husband and I were together for 32 years. And my husband didn't leave me in a great spot financially. And so a lot of things came up, a lot of fear. And one of the things I learned, like I said, is I just had to walk through that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. And so I'm going to back up. Not being accepted is my fear. Okay, so that's exactly what one of the things we're going to talk about. What are some of our fears, right? What others may think of us. Failure, not being good enough, are maybe some fears. It says I have an unstable connection, so if I lose you, I apologize. So these are just some fears that Spirit give me today, right? So let's talk about it. What others think of us, right? A lot of times, what we've talked about before on here, if you're not familiar, is we've talked about the fear of what others think of us. Before I started, basically before I made all my accounts public, because Spirit, my guides are like, your accounts all have to go public. Long story short, my husband was in the hospital for 88 days prior to unaliving himself, about a year prior. And I had to put all my accounts private. I was being attacked online. I was being bullied. And so when they said your accounts all have to go back to public, right? You're not going to reach people and serve your purpose if you're private. That was a huge fear for me, right? And it wasn't so much what people thought. In a way, yes, because it was like, I guess I was more afraid of the, in a way, yes, because it was like, I guess I was more afraid of the nasty comments. And what I didn't realize is through this whole year of going through the emotions and what Spirit's been teaching me and guiding me, trauma is not fake. Hold on, guys. Sorry. I keep getting this person that says trauma is fake. Apparently they've never known trauma. Anyway, continue on. I don't like blocking people. I hate it. But I had this fear of, will I be able to handle if somebody commented, like stuff like that, right? And now I don't let it bother me. It just kind of goes in. Trauma's very real. I know. I had him on the other night too. He kept telling me that. I'm like, okay, so you've never had trauma. But anyway, and my fear was, okay, I'm going to go public. I'm going to start this. Am I going to be able to handle comments like that? Right? And Spirit has helped me get over that fear, right? But I had to walk through that fear in order to get through it. Okay? And so then that leads me kind of into the next thing that my Spirit said was fear or faith. I always flip it. Faith or fear, right? You can't have both. Do we all know that? Right? So if you're walking in fear, you can't also be walking in faith. They can't co at the same time. Sorry, I'm going to catch up with the chat. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Faith, right? So if we say we have faith, we can't also walk in fear, because those are two opposites, right? Fear is not of the divine, and faith is, right? And so, and then of course, you know, we all know the quote, nothing to fear but fear itself. And then I heard another quote tonight that I wrote down. It was funny. I saw it just before my live. On the other side of fear lies your happiness, right? So let's go back. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So back to our fears. What are some other fears? Failure, right? So I wrote down failure, and then Spirit said to me, without failure, you would never have success, right? Because sometimes, right, we have to be willing to fail, or what we look at it as failure, in order to get to whatever we look at as success. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Exactly. And I was just thinking that this morning when Spirit was giving me all of these these things, and I was thinking the same thing as far as, so it's basically fear is coming from the left side of our brain, which is our ego, right? And our ego likes to tell us things that aren't necessarily true. You know, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, to be scared, blah, blah, blah. Many things, right, that our ego likes to tell us. So I love that. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Yes, exactly. And so back to what others think, just real quick, what we talk about on here all the time is that once you learn to love yourself and stop, sorry, I lose words sometimes. I have fibromyalgia. Sometimes I lose a word, what I'm looking for. Sometimes when basically we stop, I lost the word I'm looking for. Shoot, it'll come to me. We'll move on. Basically, when you learn to love yourself and you rely only on yourself and what you think of things, then what everybody else thinks of you is none of your business. None of your, you know what I'm saying. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are. They're dropping fast. Tell me who you are, where you're from. And how long ago did you lose your husband? How are you doing, Debbie? By the way, it's been a while. Debbie's one of my regulars, and she lost her husband. How are you doing? Let's see. Six years ago. Okay. And how long were you together, Anne? I like to ask questions. If you don't want to answer, just say so. I never want to pry. We talk about loss here, so I was just curious. When your husband passed, because you were the one that said, right, that you had fear after your husband passed. What was your biggest fear when he passed? If you don't mind sharing. And while you're responding, if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. I'm going to keep going. And so we talked about one of our fears is failure, right? And how we talked about you have to walk through failure or you will never succeed. And in my mind, if you're trying, it's never failure, right? If you got out of bed and you tried, it's not failure. Being alone, navigating life on my own. 100%, 1000% relate to that. That was one of my biggest fears because, like I said, I'd been with my husband since I was 16, so I'd never navigated life without him. Not my adult life, right? And that was one of my biggest fears too. And in a lot of ways, other than that, I really wasn't fearful because, I mean, I knew how to work and I knew how to budget. I knew how to do money and all that. It's just, I was fearful having enough because I knew that I couldn't bring in the kind of income that my husband could. Raising your hand, you know exactly how you feel. Yeah, you too, right, Debbie? Yep, exactly. And so for me, it was the fear of how am I going to make it without his kind of income? You know, everything is expensive and I live in an apartment and how am I going to make this work? Like I said, I'm not afraid to work and I wasn't, none of that. And I'm good at, you know, I know how to juggle life. How do I bring in the income in order to make everything work right, properly, you know? So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Looks like everybody's fallen off. Okay, so I'm going to flip the page. Let's see, make sure Covered everything Spirit wanted me to cover. I have a little bit on the other side. Detroit. Just joined. Welcome. Is it Bill? Glad to have you here. My name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Okay, so this is what I was trying to touch on when I totally lost that word. Love you and fear of not being good enough is irrelevant. So, right? So that gets rid of that fear. So, you know, learn to love yourself, and then that fear just disappears. What's up? So if you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota, and I talk to my guides, and so before I go live, they always give me a topic. We talk about loss and healing here. If you're not aware, I've never been to my channel. Thank you for the follow. On September 14th of 2023, my husband unalived himself. That's why I created this TikTok, because that's when I discovered my purpose, which is to help others, to go through loss and to help them heal and uplift others. So if you're lonely or going through a loss or whatever it may be, this is a good place for you. So that's why we're here tonight. We're just talking about fear. That's the subject that my guides give me this morning. Okay. I'm so sorry for your loss. Can I ask how long you were together, Bill? The only thing you have going for you, Renee, sweetheart, is that I'm young. Well, you know, I did just turn 50, Debbie, so it's not like I'm in my 20s or 30s, you know, so yes and no, right? 23 years. Okay, I was with my husband for 32. We made it 30, married together 32. Can I ask, that's young, 61. I know everybody says 50 is young, and I'm thinking, man, when I was younger, I always thought 50 was old, right? 50, North Carolina. Welcome. And so, sorry, I got an animal trying to get in or out. We all did. And so I totally lost my train of thought. I apologize, guys. Today was my day off when your brain don't work all day. The only expectations then will be yours, right? So when you learn to love yourself and you have no expectations from anybody else then, right? Because it's just what you think about. So that is a big fear of people. It's nice to see me smile. Aw, thank you. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so basically, how do you deal with fear? In my opinion, this is my opinion, my page, my opinion. In my opinion, this is my opinion, my page, my opinion, is you have to walk through it, right? You have to face it head on. Anybody else have anything else they want to add or talk about? 555, angel number. Sorry, I see them all day long, so I always point them out. 555 is the number. Sorry, I see them all day long, so I always point them out. 555 is a huge one for me. That's what you do, right through it. You know, and somebody said to me, just one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, right? And at the very beginning, it was literally minute to minute. You know, like I've talked about before, minute to minute, hour to hour. Then pretty soon I could get through days and then weeks, and, you know, and you slowly learn to deal. Hi, Gabby. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So I pretty much went over everything that Spirit wanted me to talk about. Anne or Bill, if you guys would like to talk about your loss, that's what we do here, and how you dealt with it, or did you not deal with it? We talk a lot about how to deal with loss. So if you're not familiar with my story, so my husband didn't leave me in a great spot financially. I'm the unique girl, and I'm the circle that don't fit in the square. And so I knew when I came back home, because it didn't happen here, when I came back to my apartment after he passed, I knew that group therapy was not going to work for me. That just was not my thing. And I knew that regular therapy wasn't going to be a thing because I couldn't afford it. And so after I realized that I wasn't going to unalive myself because I was ready to, because of my fear of living without him, I decided without him. I decided, I came to the conclusion that, okay, somehow, some way I have to deal with this, what I'm going through. And so I deep dived into meditation. I did a lot of walks in nature. I did a lot of journaling in nature. And just journaling itself was a huge, huge thing for me. And I tell everybody, I love, someday I'm gonna make a journal, and I'm gonna put it out there because I have lots of ideas for that, but I digress. But journaling was huge for me because it enabled me to put my feelings onto paper, to get them out,